Hey everyone, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Matt Brickman. Want to get you the latest information on what's going on with tonight's storms. Newest thing is a severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued for much of New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, and into parts of Connecticut until midnight tonight. And let's go ahead and take a look at why. This is the line of thunderstorms that is slowly advancing into our area, but already capable of producing several severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's take a look off to the north. Again, this is probably where we've seen the worst of the activity tonight. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, hail to about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. That's up by Albany, though. So most of those storms, those aren't going to be an issue for us. What we're watching is the rain out to the west, and that line of storms you can kind of see in between Scranton and Allentown. So we'll zoom in there, take a look at what's headed our way. And there's a bigger hail threat in that line, gusts to 60 miles an hour, but hail up to about an inch in diameter. And you can see, yep, in there, there's just a little bit of a hail core up to about pea size in diameter. So not absolutely massive, but an indication of some strong and potentially dangerous thunderstorms. I'll give you an idea of the direction that this is moving. You can see kind of north and east is the general track there. So what you're seeing down by Allentown right now isn't going to go due east. It's going to be more along that trajectory. And that's why, again, we've got that severe thunderstorm watch for northwestern New Jersey and into the Hudson Valley as well, is because of the general track. It's kind of away from the city. And actually, I'll give you a little bit of a wider look here, because you can see down to the south of that line, down to the south of that severe thunderstorm warning, there's really not a whole lot going on right now in this area. So that's probably the spot that would head toward New York City, for example. That's not to say that storms won't develop within that over the next couple of hours, but at least right now, the storms we're watching between Scranton and Allentown are likely to push Warren County, Pike County, Pennsylvania, Sussex County, New Jersey, and then on into Sullivan County, Orange County, New York, up towards Ulster, and then kind of there on into New England. Let's give you an idea of what to expect here over the next couple of hours, because this is still kind of on the early end of what we expected for the bulk of our storms tonight. The main push of that cold front is still a little bit later on tonight. I'd say between about 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And you can see there's 10 o'clock, and that's when some of those stronger storms we're watching out to the west of us right now are starting to push into Pike, into Warren, into Sussex County, and then they should weaken a little bit as they drive east. Maybe we'll see a couple of weaker storms develop out ahead of that line, but the absolute worst of the stuff, the severe storms, look like they're going to be pushing off to the north and east. Heavy rain moving out onto Long Island by 2 a.m., and then that could linger a little bit into early tomorrow morning. The cold front might get hung up a little bit, so east end of Suffolk County and then out through Cape Cod, up into Boston too, could see some of that heavier rain hanging on into the early part of Thursday morning. But I think what's important here is to emphasize that this is a very different storm than what we saw a week ago. I know it was last Wednesday that we were talking about flash flooding and tornadoes, and here we are again talking about the same things, but much less widespread. And just the volume of water is dramatically lower than what we saw a week ago with the remnants of Ida. That was a tropical system, just an absolute ton of moisture rolling in, and that delivered those 5 to 10 inch rainfall totals. This is a cold front moving through, something that we typically see in the summer. And we could see some heavier rain within these storms, but not anything close to what we saw a week ago. So 1 to 2 inches of rain, I think, for many of us, and that's probably the high end. A lot of us get through tonight with less than an inch of rain all totaled. Best chance of flash flooding is north and west. That's where we saw those stronger thunderstorms heading over the next couple of hours, and that's where I think the heaviest rain is going to be, the best chance of damaging winds are going to be. And if we see any tornadoes develop, and that chance isn't nothing, we can't rule it out completely, that's where they would be, is to the north and west of us. We do have that flash flood watch as well Again, it's very similar to the areas that are under the severe thunderstorm watch. It's northern New Jersey, Pike County, Pennsylvania, and then up into parts of the Hudson Valley. But I'll give you another look. There's that severe thunderstorm watch, and that goes until midnight tonight. A very similar path. You notice New York City is not within that line. Bergen County is. Passaic County is, so close to the city for parts of New Jersey, northeastern New Jersey, and then up into Rockland County, Putnam County, Orange County, New York. So not too far away, but that's kind of the general track of that line of storms we're watching right now. Out to the west, but headed to the north and east. Again, this is kind of like that general line I would expect those storms to take. Got our executive weather producer, Eric, here right now, keeping an eye on your questions and comments on Facebook, so we'll do our best to answer those.
Yeah, comments, I think you addressed this a moment ago, but just people wanting to know whether it's going to be as bad as it was last Wednesday, and you said no.
No, just to remind ourselves what we saw a week ago, this is what I did in New York City. Almost 9 inches of rain in Staten Island, over 7 inches of rain in Central Park. In Queens, almost 7 inches of rain there. And this is what we're expecting tonight. Less than an inch for most of us, maybe an inch to 2 north and west. But the problem is, because of what we had a week ago and what we had the week before that with Henri, we've got about 15 to 20 inches of rain over the last 2-3 weeks. So the ground is soaked. It can't sustain any additional rainfall. There's just nowhere to put it. That's on top of the spots that typically flood, areas that don't have as much green space, urban areas where there's a lot of concrete and cement. Typically that flood when we get rainfall rates of half to a full inch of rain. We can see those tonight in some of those thunderstorms. We would expect flooding there, but that's why we've got that higher risk of flash flooding north and west of the city, is because even in those greener areas, there's just no place to put the water. Any other questions, Eric?
The other question, Rosa was asking timing. She was wondering between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning. Is that what we're looking at as far as time goes? It really depends on where you are.
Yeah, actually, and we'll kind of walk you through area by area timing and impacts here. Starting up in the Hudson Valley, and again, it's 8 o'clock. We're starting to see those storms move in right now. Parts of Sullivan and Ulster County are already getting heavy rain, and I think we could see strong storms there. We did have just a sub-severe storm in Sullivan County, capable of 50-mile-an-hour gusts, half-inch size hail, and that's kind of in line with what we would expect to see. 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible there. Then you move a little bit to the south, northern New Jersey. We've got those storms just west, and they're moving in now. So within the next hour or two, we're going to start to see some of those stronger storms hit there. Could see severe thunderstorm warnings expanded into those western and northwestern counties. So Warren, Sussex, Hunterdon, Morris, you guys could see severe thunderstorm warnings over the next couple of hours. Flash flooding is a concern there. Damaging winds are a concern as well, and maybe an isolated tornado. For the city, we're looking at kind of a later arrival, 11 to 1 a.m. And I think for us, it's going to be thunderstorms and probably just general run-of-the-mill thunderstorms. But what will be interesting to watch is the rainfall rates within those storms. If we are seeing some of those downpours that produce an inch of rain or close to it in 30 to 60 minutes, then we could see some street flooding develop there. Down the Jersey Shore, this will be later and could linger overnight depending on where the front gets caught up. We could see heavy rain continuing into the day tomorrow, and a similar story out through Long Island. This will mainly be after midnight in Nassau County and then lingering out in the east end of Suffolk County into the morning tomorrow. I'll get you back to that live picture of the radar and show you what's going on right now. And yeah, you can see it's starting to get close to some of our counties in western and northwestern New Jersey.
All right, so one of our viewers mentioned it's pouring in Monticello.
Yeah, let's go look up in that area right now.
Yeah, Sullivan County.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty impressive thunderstorms up that direction. Let's just check in on some of these rainfall rates right now. Anytime you see purple, on the radar. That's generally not a good sign. Yeah, so 2 to 3 inches an hour. Now, those are similar to the rainfall rates we saw a week ago, but with that line of storms, they kind of sat over the area, and we had 2 to 3 inches of rain an hour for 2 hours. I think what we're seeing with these storms tonight is they'll move on relatively quickly, and you won't see that for more than a half hour, 45 minutes. Still enough time to give you an inch or two of rain, but you're not going to push 4, 5, 6 inches of rain like we saw last week with the remnants of Ida. Yeah, you can see all that heavy rain up into Ulster County too, up towards Woodstock, back by Fallsburg, down into Thompson. Some pretty impressive rain, but that's all moving on pretty quickly to the north and east. So pouring now, shouldn't be in an hour.
All right, and then one other person, Sunshine, was wondering about Allentown, PA, a little bit to our west.
Yep, Allentown, well, that's where those storms are headed right now. Just outside of the severe thunderstorm warning. Oop, jump back there. Just outside of the severe thunderstorm warning, but you know what? This might skirt just north of town. The general direction, here I'll zoom in. The general direction on this line of storms is to the north and east, and you can tell this kind of by the shape of the warning box. So I think the storms maybe clip the north part of Allentown, but I think it's going to be more of an issue for Lehigh, for Mount Bethel, and then kind of moving over towards northwestern New Jersey than it should be for Allentown proper. Maybe you catch the very southern edge of that, but I think the worst of the storm should probably head north. Anything else?
Ringwood, New Jersey.
Ringwood, New Jersey, you're gonna... All right, I don't have every town memorized just yet. Let me look it up.
Bergen County, just west of Bergen County, up by Rockland.
Okay. So that area is under the severe thunderstorm watch for tonight. I'll jump back to that. And you can see, yeah, Bergen, Passaic County are under the severe thunderstorm watch, but this is going to be later for you guys. This is going to be closer, I would think, to that kind of 10, 11 o'clock window and beyond, unless we see any sort of storms begin to develop out in front of this main push. But frankly, we haven't seen a lot of that tonight. The storms that we have seen have looked pretty minor, and they fizzled out quickly. So it's really just this larger cold front that's moving. I mean, you can see this from Maine all the way back through West Virginia into Kentucky. So it's a pretty large line of storms, but you can also see from the severe thunderstorm warnings along this line, the worst of it looks like it is pushing through the tri-state.
All right, that's pretty much
it.
I haven't gotten any other comments, so I think you pretty much answered all the questions.
All right, great. We've got another newscast here for you at 11 o'clock. If there's any severe weather that develops between now and then that is dangerous, we will hop on TV and update you as well. Otherwise, we'll continue to publish severe weather updates here on Facebook and on our Twitter feed as well. That's Storm Team 4 NY, and you can find us on there. Thanks for checking in on the web right now, and we'll see you a little bit later on this evening.